right there and be all set up and ready to go. All right. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. So, let's click resume and get right back into it. Now, when we last left off, I believe we had just set up this stone producing setup over here on Vulcanus. So, we now have a supply of legendary stone. It's not perfect, but it's like pretty good, right? And we've got a decent chunk of copper coming out of here if we ever need that, which I don't think we will. How's this copper stuff going down here? We still have thousands of spare? Yeah, like tens of thousands of spare. So yeah, we don't really need the legendary copper there, but we do need the legendary stone. So this can just run and do its thing. And now we have to go here to Gleba Stone, because ultimately we need all of this stuff to go over to Gleba to make biochambers. So let's set all this up. And you can want to deliver like 300, but minimum payload of like 50 probably. And then we go to Gleba and we get it to request that legendary stone. So we go to here and legendary stone of a couple hundred. So that should start working eventually. And from there we will need to make legendary landfill, which is no fancy buildings, just good old-fashioned assemblers. So we get assembler, requester, provider, and then that just goes across, and you make legendary landfill. And now we just have to get all this stuff connected up to the power grid. And that ought to be good. Obviously, it's going to be quite difficult to actually produce. It's going to take a lot of legendary stone, but we can't productivity module you, so that's just is what it is. So eventually over here on Vulcanus, we will get the stone built up. And then we can start making our legendary landfill over here on Gleba. Now the reason we need legendary landfill is for legendary biochambers. So let's get the other bits sorted out. So we need legendary nutrients and pentapod eggs. So how are we going to go about doing that? So we have a sizable amount of legendary bioflux, right? And that is pretty good. Now, let me think. So we need to turn the bioflux into nutrients and then use those nutrients to keep a steady supply of legendary pentapod eggs available. So let's figure that out. So we need a biochamber that is going to be doing pentapod eggs, but legendary. So now, in order to get this, we're going to need like one legendary pentapod egg to start with, right? So that's going to be somewhat tricky. And we actually want this to go very slow. We don't want this to be speed moduled or anything, because otherwise it's just a waste of resources. So if we just do something like this, then we need to How do we do this? We take just an output into a belt, which then immediately inputs to feed itself. Right, so that outputs the pentapod eggs and then picks them right back up for use in the next batch. And then downstream of that, we have a machine which is going to be making the legendary biochambers. And so you are going to be taking from here, and this will produce net 0.13, right? Because it's used 0.05 for itself. So then this one uses 0.1 and then turns those into biochambers. And then we just need to... So we have like an output for the legendary biochambers, right? So those can just go into a box there. And this goes down like that. Now we don't want to just be... Actually, we do want to just be constantly producing these so that we don't have to re-jumpstart it, because getting the legendary pentapod eggs started is going to be kind of a nightmare. Because we're going to have to send them through a bunch of quality modules and hope to get lucky. So, we want that to just keep going. We want them to go across. And then if they aren't like immediately used, then they just go into a heating tower and get destroyed. Right? So it's going to be something like that. And that'll destroy all the excess. And I assume these can't be productivity moduled. So I guess in that case we can just make that extra fast so that this will use up all the pentapod eggs while it's doing stuff. We won't have some of them getting wasted constantly, only when we have enough legendary biochambers. So that is fine. Then we need the water and the nutrients. So the legendary nutrients, we just need to loop around and just something like that. And then have an output filter for spoilage, which is going to be legendary spoilage. And that just goes out somewhere and into a box where we will deal with it some way or another. And then we get an input filter, which will be for legendary nutrients, which I think we have to make still, so that's going to be a step in this process as well. But so you have everything but the water, which is trivial. I mean, there's literally a pond right here, so we can just slap an offshore pump down and connect you up. And apparently we don't have offshore pumps here on Gleba. How do we not have offshore pumps on Gleba? Well, someone just make those. So you make those, get a requester chest with the ingredients in, and then that all goes across to an output. And that will be that. Once the foundation for that gets built. Alright. So that's in... Oh, wait. I think it's... Is it drone port problem? No, it isn't drone port problems. Although we do need a drone port in this area for the provider chests. So let's just get one in there for now. And then get all of this stuff powered, like so. Alright, so now everything's powered, and the only thing left is the other inputs to this, which you obviously take those out, and it's just the legendary circuits and landfill and stuff, which we're going to have to import, but we can import pretty easily. So you ask for legendary circuits, and you ask for legendary iron plates, and then the landfill will be produced on site, and Gleba support, you can handle those, just take them in from Novice. And let's actually make these numbers a bit higher, just so that we don't have weird issues with that. We just want to have enough of them, right? So that will be that. And then once we get legendary nutrients in here, and legendary pentapod eggs in there, then it'll all work out. Okay, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit, of course, for all this stuff to happen. So Gleba stone is almost back to Vulcanus, which by now has enough stone. So the legendary stone should be arriving. Okay, fast transport, are you doing anything important? No, you're just sort of sitting above Vulcanus doing nothing. So you can just head out to Aquilo so that we don't have to worry about forgetting to refuel you. Okay, Gleba is being attacked again, because of course it is. So let's send the Spidertrons over and deal with all this. Fortunately, this is a relatively small attack. There's no giant pentapods. Unfortunately, it's taking the spider... Oh, wait. That's because this Spidertron is here. Alright, so you can run down to assist. And that should be the problem dealt with. And I believe that's all of them. Okay, so we just need to... we need to do something about these pentapods. Now, did you come from here? Is that a real nest? And is that a real nest? Okay, that's not a nest, that's just an individual pentapod, it looks like. So let's just get some shots going off to you. And that giant pentapod is down, and there was nothing up there. Okay, so yeah, problem solved. But we really... there is an artillery piece up here, right? Yeah, there is. And they all have ammo. So I don't know what exactly is going on, but I guess we will just copy-paste. Let's actually copy-paste these ones out here, because they have railguns in them, so they're extra secure. And you can go up there. And that should get us more or less all covered. So now we just have the power pole connecting them up. And, okay, Novice. It said that a drone port was being damaged, but it's fine now, apparently. So who knows what that was about. Okay, now a whole bunch of walls are being destroyed in like 5 different places. Oh, and it's because because of artillery retaliations. So that's unsurprising. We just got an artillery shell upgrade. So that's just going to keep happening. But it looks like we're mostly getting... It looks like we have the pollution cloud pretty well covered, though. So I'm not too worried about that. Like, especially out here, these shots are going way wide of the pollution cloud. So that is all good. Now this stuff up here, I could have sworn that those power lines have been connected, but they're not. So let's get one more power pole in there so that that can be connected up. And then let's move a Spidertron down there just in case we get attacked from that direction. We want them to be reasonably close. So now all this is getting built properly. And we've got artillery shells on the way there as well, although I don't think they'll find anything to shoot at. So that's all good. Now what was I doing previously? I was working down here, right? So we needed to get legendary nutrient production and legendary pentapod egg production. So for legendary nutrient production, let's just go up here to our bioflux production. And this should actually be quite straightforward. We just need a biochamber there, which just grabs from you, and then just outputs. Actually, wait, no, this is dumb. You're a biochamber, you need access to nutrients. We can just request or chest those in, though. So let's do that. So you get a requester chest with a handful of nutrients. Probably don't need 100. Probably can do with like 20. So that is that. Then this just goes across to there. Crazy stuff continuing to happen on Novice, but it's fine. So now we do legendary nutrients from Bioflux. And you are going to take spoiled first, probably, just to prevent that from being an issue. And okay, now we need that to chill for a bit. And okay, what we actually need is we need to read from the drone port. So the drone port will read contents, and you will be enable disable. Oh wait, what is that? Okay, no, that's just a bunch of drones. So you will be enable disable based on legendary nutrients is less than 100, let's say. So now, if we fill that up, then legendary nutrients is 320, so this is not going to do anything. And we're all good. Alright, so that gives us our legendary nutrients. And then we can come down here and request those, and a whole bunch of stuff is showing up, including most of the inputs that aren't the legendary landfill stuff. So that's good. So we're basically just at the point where we need to figure out getting these pentapod eggs jump-started. So, first of all, do we have any access to pentapod eggs, like, through passive provider chests or anything? I doubt it. So this just goes through here, and then up to there. So they do sort of go all the way along here for a bit. So let's just take out a random solar panel. Not like we need those. And then we are going to have you set. So you are going to be enable disable on pentapod eggs are less than like 5. Okay, so then we're going to want a couple of laser turrets in here. So let's get those. And then you can stop doing the filter thing. So now we have pentapod eggs in there. Gleba support does not have enough platform hub storage space. Okay, well, you need to drop off all that, and then we need to give you some more platform hub storage space, obviously. So if we just do like that, and then that doesn't break anything, and it will eventually give you another couple rows. And apparently we have those on Gleba, so they can get launched up no problem. And then that should be fine from there. Okay, so the thing is, we do not need very many pentapod eggs. We just need literally just a couple. So let's get, can we just find this somewhere where we have a random nutrient belt lying around, like up here? That should make this a lot easier. So, you guys all need to do pentapod egg production. And so we're going to need to get various inputs. How do we do that? So you need to have this loop here, which will be carrying the pentapod eggs around. And then you all are going to need quality modules, like so. And then we need just a bunch of these guys to do that. Okay. And then we have an output for legendaries. So we have like this, and you get one of those, and then all this stuff can be powered up. Now, wait, we need water somehow as well. So all of these guys need to go out to somewhere where we can make a water pipe. And then we attach that water pipe up. Fortunately, right there. Okay, and then we just copy paste all of your requests over to those machines and put a random drone port up in this vicinity somewhere and get that powered. Okay, so these guys are now making pentapod eggs. And at this point, we just need to get lucky. Like, we just need to straight up randomly roll a high quality pentapod egg. And let's get some laser turrets around here for when this inevitably explodes. So, are these... Did I ever give these guys the ability to output? No, I did not. Or input, for that matter. Okay, well that's a problem. Okay, so that is a start. Then we need to replace some of those laser turrets with power poles. And do we just... So these guys, I guess, just go into a passive provider chest as well, so that they can get filtered back. And these machines are all running now. And there is always the chance that something happens. So that needs to get its power pole, and we just need to get lucky at this point. And now we go down here again, and then you request your chest in... So you request your chest in legendary nutrients, and you request your chest in legendary pentapod eggs. And now we just need to get lucky. Now we just need this cycle up here to skip all the way up through the entire step until we actually get something. Okay, so we can reduce the reliance on drones here, because for some reason I forgot how simple this was. So those don't need to request anything. So instead, you just need to have an input from that belt. And then these guys all go out. And that... Okay, wait. No, you need to be filtered out to blacklist regular pentapod eggs. So you will filter out all the fancy special ones. And then let's get even a couple more laser turrets around here because I'm paranoid. So now they can take the pentapod eggs from this loop and use them to hopefully just spike literally one legendary pentapod egg, and we're all good to go. We don't even need this special filter because it'll just work. And yeah, so if we wanted to do different quality things, we would need to have like uncommon nutrients and stuff, which would be quite difficult. So I think doing it this way is the best way, although maybe we could get it going faster if we stared at it a bit. It also looks like this system over here is just completely broken because of we're just taking all the nutrients out of it immediately. So that's not ideal either, but hopefully it'll work out. Okay, let's just go down here, and this is producing a whole lot of legendary spoilage, which we need to do something about. Now, if I recall correctly, we can somehow turn legendary spoilage into carbon or something. So we can make legendary carbon, I guess, with all the legendary spoilage, and that is good. Oh, we actually already have this here, but it's just all filled up. Okay, well let's just temporarily just make it not filled up. So now we're going to have this guy using up all of our legendary spoilage. And that will be helpful. Now, let's get a line off of here. So if we just have you split down this way, and then come back and immediately go back in. Output priority right. Alright, so now we just need that to get built, and we're all good. So now we can just put a whole bunch of biochambers along this row and use this. Wait, not that close. They need to have their gaps. So that just goes along. And then we have another bunch of them there. And now they just take from the nutrient belt. So all those take their legendary nutrients. And then they just need to all produce... What's it called? They all need to produce the pentapod eggs. So we can have them do that. And then get their water outputs to somewhere manageable. Like down here. Where they can all connect up. And that just goes across. Okay, I don't know why these guys are not taking in the legend. Oh, they're not taking in the legendary nutrients because I never gave them the opportunity. So you need to reach out to that belt. And then these guys need to be powered. Like so. And the water now just has to connect across to here. And then we need to get these guys to have their water connected up. And that can go around and then down and over like that. So they'll all have their water and they'll all have their legendary nutrients. And then they get powered. So now... Oh wait, these guys just need regular nutrients, not legendary. Right, obviously I knew that. So, change of plans, take that out, and this is just going to have its own little nutrient loop, which can be fed from there, although actually it needs to be one over for this to work. So that nutrient loop goes like that, then we get a requester chest bringing in regular old nutrients. So those can now do all their thing. And the sheer amount of frustration that this is all extraordinarily temporary and we're going to be tearing it down at any minute now is very real. Okay, so now these guys need their outputs, which just goes like that, and then we get a passive provider chest up here, which all the output gets fed into at the end of the day. And these guys need power poles. And that will be that. So we also have a weird amount of legendary spoilage to output for whatever reason. Okay, and now we just need to pop a pentapod egg into here to get all of this started up. So once that goes, then this should all hopefully run properly. Wait, no, I'm dumb. I forgot to give them the ability to input from this instead of just output to it. And these guys up here are going to need that too, which is going to mean moving these power poles again. I don't know why I'm really struggling today with power poles being correct, but we got there in the end. Now these guys are all running. And that should be that. Now, I think you don't need to be bringing in pentapod eggs anymore. Although this... Okay, I guess we just need to keep you running by pulling the extra pentapod eggs out. And then we are going to want to put a bunch of laser turrets around here for when the inevitable happens. So there we go. Those can all go in, and you are missing laser turrets. Does anyone... Gleba support brings laser turrets in, so that'll be fine. And speaking of Gleba support, you did get that extra cargo bay, but we are definitely just going to want to replace you with a better system soon. One that can move faster and carry more supplies. Okay, so we have managed to get lucky up to rare pentapod eggs so far. So far, no dice on legendary pentapod eggs, though. So, that's all going. How is our legendary bioflux supply going, by the way? So we have still hundreds of it. Looks like more of it is spoiling than is being used, which is cool. We can make that better by just throwing productivity modules into you. So even at super low production rates, you shouldn't have any issues. So yeah, we're still getting 40 per second, which should be plenty for, you know, we need like a couple per second, basically. And you are now just filling a box with legendary spoilage, which we still need to solve that. So this guy is making that, but doing it very slowly. So we can speed you up a bunch. So currently you're at 0.4 per second, and now you're up to 6 per second. Good solid speed up. And then we want some way of just getting rid of it more permanently. So if we just have you do nutrients from spoilage, then we can turn legendary spoilage into legendary nutrients, which will obviously be useful. So you can just request those, And then the good news is that the legendary nutrients should then decay down into legendary spoilage again. Okay, Gleba is being attacked again up here. Okay, so that is just pentapod eggs popping. Okay, so actually I just realized that this being the way it is kind of pointless. So we can just have you go into a furnace. So you go into a furnace. That laser turret seems like it's partially underwater. And then we can just burn off all the extra stuff. Which, yeah, that sure is a thing. That sure is a thing that happened. These are just going to keep on popping. We need even more heating towers, I guess. And you need to be priority spoiled first. So hopefully that will help. Hopefully that'll help. Although it seems kind of like... Yeah, no, we definitely just need more heating towers. So you go away. This becomes a belt, which then gets like 4 heating towers on it, let's say. And all of those go through. And hopefully that will deal with it. So now we just need these power poles to get placed. And I really, really wish it wasn't taking like a billion years for that power pole to go in. Alright. Now it's more under control at least. And the box is empty now, so we have officially gotten things back to normal. Now let's say you will be set filters and hang on, let me think. So we actually, now how about we just have you be enable disable on pentapod eggs are greater than like 10 maybe. So now we're letting the pentapod eggs go through there and do stuff. And these guys would be running if they were getting enough nutrients. So let's set that up to like 400 nutrients input at a time so we can prevent this from happening. And Gleba support is on its way and should be providing more laser turrets. Right, you've got 50 of those. And does Gleba automatically request laser turrets? No, it doesn't. That was the problem. Okay, so actually there's just some in orbit right now from transport platform, probably. So that should be that problem resolved. And here they are. They just all lit up. Alright, so now this is like the most secured laser turret setup on the planet. Oh, and actually the bottleneck here was the bulk inserter instead of stack inserter. So let's get that in. And you still haven't gotten anything. You still haven't gotten a single guy, although we have lucked into epics there. But this, we need to start dealing with those like immediately. Otherwise we're going to have the same problem, but potentially much worse. So let's get all of you you set up, and you are going to request tier 2 pentapod eggs and tier 3 pentapod eggs and 4 and not 5s. And then those are going to go into all of these smelters. And I think those just got picked up and brought somewhere. So hopefully that doesn't cause catastrophe. So we just need power poles for all of you. And now we have just like a stable way of getting rid of all these unwanted pentapod eggs. Okay, and you do also need to call for tier 1s as well. Just we need to get all these dealt with before they start exploding. And we also need to get a Spidertron down there, so that when they do explode, it's not an absolute catastrophe. Okay, and then this has broken again, so it's not working at all. So these guys are in some serious trouble in terms of getting rid of all the pentapod eggs in time. But at least it's going and doing some stuff. I really just want this dang biochamber to get lucky. We've gotten tier 4s. If we get a single tier 5, then we're all good on legendary biochamber production. But until then, we are very much stuck. Okay, so this guy up here needs a supply of nutrients in order to make the legendary nutrients that we want it to. So we can do that. And then you can also get some speed. So that will be extra fast, and you just need to get rid of all the legendary spoilage in a form which is hopefully like marginally useful. Okay, so why do you say you're short on legendary spoilage when you have this entire requester chest right here? What on earth is going on there? Can we like dismantle that inserter and replace it or something? I don't know what caused that. Okay, so now your output full because we have that. Right, okay. So problem solved. Now we are just absorbing every little bit of spoilage. And that should prevent that stuff from stockpiling like it has been for a little bit. And you need to be trash unrequested. And you need to be trash unrequested, because that will just get rid of the spoilage out of them. Get that working again. Oh wait, this is producing now. We have one legendary biochamber, and we now have a supply of legendary pentapod eggs, meaning we can just stop all of this nonsense. So, yeah, these guys can all go away. As can these guys up here. Where are they? So now those are all dealt with. And we still have this system down here getting rid of the last couple. And then we just need to take that out. Okay. So, as long as this system that we've set up here is stable and works properly, we should be completely in the clear. And let's just dismantle that entire blob. And there we go. Problem solved. Okay, so we're up to 6 of these already, and let's actually keep up to 2 stacks. So right now it's the legendary landfill, which is the problem. But you have your pentapod eggs. Now the way we did this up there was we had... How did we do this for these guys? We had a decider combinator, which was... Okay, so this only takes pentapod eggs if we don't have enough biochambers. So we can duplicate that, although we're going to need to work out how to get enough landfill. So you read from there and from there, and then you output to there. And that decider combinator gets powered. And you need to be enable disable on a just like a check mark or something. So check mark equals 1. Then this is going to read legendary pentapod eggs equals 0, and legendary biochambers is less than whatever the number we need it to be. Let's say like 50 maybe. Should be overkill. Then you output your check mark, and was it that which was... No, it was actually the inserters which had the control behavior, not this. So we take that out, and it's U2. So you get enable disabled on checkmark equals 1, and you get those same settings. Oh wait, no, and then that's also dumb and wrong. So because it's supposed to be this one, not that one. Just completely wrong. Okay, so you... Did we break this? Okay, no, we haven't broken it. We just need to set that off. And then you, instead of outputting to those two, you need you to output to those two. And instead of inputting from that one, you need to input from that one. So you are going to be read ingredients. And those two will be enabled disabled. Okay. But not you, right? I think it's just this one. I think we're fine with wasting the nutrients here. So you have some of those. Oh wait, no, not read content. Not read ingredients, read contents. Gosh, I've been messing this up horribly just constantly. Alright, so now that's good. When we get more legendary stone through. And how are you doing, by the way? You are still above Gleba. How's Vulcanus stone supply doing? We only have 29, so we might need to like make more of these. Like we need to, because this is already basically as fast as it can go. So if we want more stone, we just need another one. So let's just do that. So we take this. We should be able to actually rotate you like that, and then put you in such a way that it just outputs to the exact same box. Although, yeah, we actually can't do that because the direction that the belts are pointing won't work. But we can just do it like this. And then we're going to need to get that set up with all the lava stuff. And we need more legendary recyclers. So transport platform is not the one. It's fast transport has them, maybe? No. Does one of these Vulcanist support guys have them? Not Vulcanist support 1, not Vulcanist support 2, not Vulcanist support 3. Alright, well, fast transport, you can return back to Novice to do that eventually. And you're also going to need to deliver some quality modules as well, which should be fine. Now the nice thing is that, like, once we get this done, we won't really need that many legendary biochambers because they're kind of niche. They're kind of niche, so it should be fine. Okay, science is still being silly, and, like, I kind of want it to be partially functional, and it's still metallurgic science, which is the issue. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to add space platform, and you are going to be Vulcanist fast. I'm going to make you over Novice, because that's always where we make things. And then it's going to be a fast transport copy with just instructions that'll be beneficial for Vulcanists. Okay, so then we need a drone port up here somewhere, so that can all be covered within it. And, alright, so that's been made. Now we just copy this and repaste. And so that is doing the thing where it has to build some before it actually, like, gets all the way down to the bottom. As you can see, it's cut off there. So this will get started up, and then eventually we'll be responsible for just going back and forth to Vulcanist, but being extra fast about it. And that can just sort of go along in the background. So back over on Gleba, this is still working and should hopefully continue to work. Our legendary bioflux supply up here is doing fine. It's still hovering around the 500s. You're set to spoiled first, so this should be fully functional. All this stuff is going, although... Okay, here's an obvious thing. We need more inserters for these guys, because they're just not picking up enough. So, let's get all those in, and then wrap around for these, so that we can have enough jelly and Yumiko mash to actually make things. So those will all get built up, and we should see a lot less stuff just getting wasted out that side. It should be a whole lot more actual bioflux output with that. And yeah, it's actually looking very close to completely capped out, which I'm pretty sure is exactly what we want. And so that should get this back under control. Now, speaking of getting things back under control, how is this going? Alright, we no longer have any legendary nutrients left. So that is good. So that is all clear. We don't want to have that. I destroyed the heating tower that I was using for this when I dismantled all that stuff and got this jammed. So we just have to get that back in and we're back to normal. So yeah, just have to constantly be pulling spoilage off of the belts wherever we get the opportunity to do so. And this is just continuing to work properly, so that's all good. And we have 7 biochambers there. And we actually want to leave that more open because it is limited by the decider combinator, but we need to have enough space that when stuff spoils, we can send it out that way and not have it be an issue. Alright, so yeah, now hardly anything is getting out past this side. So that's exactly what we want to see. And it looks like this is all still working properly. Like, all these machines are just outputting at full speed, and the amount of legendary bioflux we have is decreasing slowly. It's down to like the 490s. I really hope we don't need another one of these to keep up with demand. You would think it wouldn't be an issue, especially with how efficient this all is, but I guess, like, this is going a lot. Alright, so what we can do actually is we can decrease the amount of legendary bioflux that we make here. So if we bring this down to like 30, then we should, because the question is like how quickly this stuff spoils, not how quickly it's used for the most part. The actual usage rate is quite low. So if we set that down to a much lower number, it will produce a lot less, which should hopefully mean that a lot less is spoiling at once. So yeah, that should help a little bit. And that's all going well. So Vulcan is fast. How are you going? You are getting built slowly but surely. We have plenty of resources to build with. We need 5.5 thousand space platforms, and we have 7,000-ish. So that shouldn't be an issue. Did I just see a substation get dropped? Alright. I don't know why you need substations. Okay, yeah, you definitely just built a substation somewhere. I have no idea why. Oh, because there's a substation in this blueprint. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Not really an issue. So we just need this to finish off what it's currently doing. Now, in the meantime, biochambers, check. We have legendary biochambers. We don't need legendary captive biter spawners. That seems completely unnecessary. And the legendary biochambers that we have, though, how fast are they? Crafting speed of 5 as opposed to crafting speed of Like what? 2 normally, I think it is. It's hard to tell, but yeah. Legendary biochambers, that'll be helpful. That'll be helpful for when we want to start going for massive science here on Gleba, which we will be wanting to do eventually. So, hopefully that is going to be that for our demands from Gleba. Now we just need fast transport. Do you have your... Oh no, you pick up your recyclers from Fulgora, not from Novice. So you need to go to Fulgora and then out to Vulcanus so that we can get this whole stone setup going better. Now we probably have enough of this stuff built. No. Well, we have enough built to at least get this started, right? So let's copy this, flip it vertically, and then you just go in somewhere like that. We need all of the stack inserters to be outputting onto lava. Oh, like this one isn't, for example. So you just need to go down there. And then that gets power connection across. And then we also need this to be outputting onto lava. So we need you to be... Actually, it's not going to work like that. We just want offshore pump, offshore pump, offshore pump, offshore pump. Was it 4 of these? Yeah, it was 4 of these. So we just get that all constructed and set up. And then we just need to get all these guys connected. So that goes to there. You go into that. Just this massive row of 5 mostly full belts. All goes down into the lava. Okay. So now we're just a couple of pipes away from this all turning on. Yes, and it's quite likely to get jammed with the absence of these extra recyclers. I don't think that this will be fast enough without those. But I guess we can find out. Oh, somehow we've already gotten one in. That was lucky. Now fast transport is here, and it's picked up its recyclers, and it's just getting one more batch from Fulgora, and then we can send you down to Vulcanus to finish that off. And okay, so those have arrived. So now you can head down to Vulcanus, which will take a couple of steps, but should be fine. Okay, so now all this stuff is good. Our supply of landfill on Gleba is technically slowly depleting, which is definitely not ideal, but we should be done on Gleba for a little bit at least. So we shouldn't need to worry too much about that. Obviously, we only really need more landfill when we're actively here building stuff. Okay, I've just noticed I just don't have any laser turrets around here. So let's just get some of those in just in case, because this is an area where things could go wrong. So that's all set up, and that should be Gleba mostly dealt with in terms of legendary buildings, right? So the only other thing which, like, yeah, no, agricultural towers don't even get any benefits from legendary, so yeah, we are basically just done with them. So if we're done with Gleba in terms of legendary stuff, if we're done with Vulcanus in terms of legendary stuff, it's just Fulgora and Aquilo next. So let's move on to Fulgora, where we need to do legendary EM plants, and we don't really need legendary lightning collectors. They're just as good without that. We already have legendary recyclers in pretty large numbers. So let's look at legendary EM plants. We need steel plates, processing units, holmium plates, refined concrete. So our holmium plate cycling here, we've got like 600 spare, which would give us like 4 electromagnetic plants. Now, if we check all the way over, somewhere over here is our holmium ore supply. So we can set this up to do a lot better. So, holmium ore goes to holmium solution, which goes to holmium plates, right? And there's like some stone involved in that, right? Yes, so holmium solution is holmium ore plus a little bit of stone, plus a little bit of water. So, if we want to set a better holmium plate setup, we're going to need to get all of those guys in. And then, is there any... because holmium plate cycling just gives holmium plates back, obviously. Now, is there any better way of getting those? So it won't work with lithium because that just gives lithium back. I assume it won't work with fusion power cells. Probably, no, it doesn't work with superconductors. Gosh, this is incredibly uncooperative. I guess supercapacitors would work, but that requires making like a billion different items legendary, which I'm not super pleased about doing that. So we would just have to have an enormous number of all of those inputs. Green circuits, superconductors, batteries, yeah, that's too much work. So I think the holmium plates are just going to be... they're just going to be cycling in themselves. So, we need... in order to make all this, we just need holmium, ore, stone, and ice cubes. Just bring all of those onto an island somewhere, and then get that set up. So, let's go somewhere nice and convenient, like down here maybe. We need the island to be like reasonably big, but it doesn't need to be enormous because we're going to be using a lot of legendary machines just in this process, because the holmium solution is in a foundry. And actually, what is the holmium solution itself? It's just chemical plant, not like a cryogenic plant or anything. So yeah. Did I ever make legendary chemical plants? I feel like I probably did. I feel like that's something I did at some point. If not, it's kind of trivial, so we can just do that. Alright, so you come down here. It looks like I was doing some design work down here at some point. Alright. Oh, I do even just have that lightning collector, so you can stand in that and just pick up all these random stack inserters. Okay, so we need 3 trains worth of input. And it's going to be actually literally these 3 trains: stone, holmium ore, and ice cubes. So, if I just like yoink this and just copy paste it over to here, and let's see, this island is really just not big enough, is it? It doesn't need to be huge, but Actually, maybe on this side, we can't... We can rotate them like this. And then we only need 3. Whereas currently we have a bunch. Yeah, I don't know. The island is just annoyingly shaped. It's just not the most convenient possible shape for this. So we can just do this down here. So yeah, we could just do this like on that island maybe, or ooh, this island seems somewhat appealing. If we just put it like there, then get the Spidertron down there to see that. And I should have clicked it in already. Yeah, so now you're down there. So Spidertron is going to be doing some of this construction, which is fine. And then we just need to get this connected up. So we need to get the Roboports connected across, most of all. And the Spidertron is going to take forever to charge, because it always does. And yeah, so all this area is missing construction bots and construction materials because it's only the Spidertron doing it. I just want you to get the Roboports in so that I can see where those need to go to. Oh, it's probably fine. So we just need, like, just sort of place them around randomly. Get the Spidertron to do its thing. And then just bring this over to here. Get that one built in. Which it is not doing because it doesn't have the battery for it. Okay, that's quite annoying. So then we will get... Might as well get the legendary big electrical poles in while we're at it. So that can go across there, and then we just have to bring regular old electrical poles onto that. Spidertron, it does have foundations, it does have Roboports. Okay, yeah, it's back up to building things again. And we need to get these guys in to cover all of this area. And of course this is going to cause all sorts of problems with having to fill in more electric lightning collectors so that the drones don't get zapped, but for now we just have to take the power pole all the way up there, and then just bring the drone ports down a bit. And I'm just sort of estimating their ranges. Once they're actually placed, we can go a lot further per port. But something like that ought to do. And we just need to get all of these guys in. And now we need the lightning collectors, like so. And now all of this, okay, once this drone port gets built, like all of this should slowly start to connect up. And so we just need that to happen. And they're mostly putting power poles down right now. And this is where we get to deal with the issues from this not being properly connected up. So the power line doesn't actually go that far just yet, but it will get built in over time. Here come all the drones to do their thing. And they're gonna have some serious troubles charging down here because none of this stuff actually has power. And we're gonna need to fill this entire massive area in with lightning collectors so that the drones don't all explode. Good news is that at least the storm will provide some electricity for these roboports, so they can kind of charge if you squint. And now is when we start losing thousands of super expensive drones. Oh, while that's happening, fast transport eventually just made it to Vulcanus, so we can drop those off. And this is all just drone casualties on Fulgora. Nothing to worry about there. It looks like this line is mostly connected up now. We're still missing a couple. Boy, those drones are going down like crazy. And thank goodness for lightning collectors, meaning there's just sort of some power everywhere so that these guys can do at least a little bit of charging. So let's get the Spidertron back into this. It should be able to help out again, at least a little bit. Alright, so Spidertron is here. And a whole bunch of stuff gets built. And you can just keep on doing all that. And are you already out of power? No, you have plenty of power. You probably just don't have the items. So just waiting on foundations for a lot of these lightning collectors and power poles. Just not saying we're missing any of the power poles or lightning collectors or foundations, so that's good. That means that those should theoretically be on their way. That's a whole bunch of drones leaving there now that there's no lightning to charge them from that side. But these ones are connected up to the main grid, so they can charge over here. And like all these drones are damaged, by the way. It's not ideal. Okay, so you can just get a little bit more of this stuff assigned. And take a little bit of work off of the other drones. So these guys are all over here charging now. And that should be quite helpful for them. And also it looks like this has gotten connected up. So now all this stuff is actually properly set up. So now we just need to start getting lightning collectors in this ocean. So that, it looks like a bunch of them are coming down sort of this path. So let's try to get that covered. And we just fill in a bunch of lightning collectors, have the Spidertron place them, and then hope that that will be enough. And then it looks like we're also going down this way. So we can go over there to get those placed in. And let's see here. So that coverage is pretty bad, but should be fine. We need to get the Spidertron down here to make this passage wider. So we do stuff like that. And that should be mostly cleared. And then we're going to need to get this route up here that they like to keep coming from. So that goes up this way, and off we go, getting all that stuff placed. So we just need to place so many lightning collectors. And this is where having legendary lightning collectors would be like marginally useful. So you're out. So you need to just stop by somewhere to get resupplied. Meanwhile, there are like 10 billion drones down here recharging on these couple of ports. Let's make these legendary drone ports, if possible, which will make this whole thing a little bit more complicated, but should help if those deliveries can get made reasonably soon. That should help with all of this nonsense. Probably should have just done that from the start, to be honest. Okay, so that's all getting built. The Spidertron is back in civilization, getting restocked. And we were losing drones in this area. That's where I was headed to be covering all that space before we ran out of lightning collectors. So now how are you doing? You have 8 lightning collectors now, and you're picking up more as we go. Okay, so let's just say that 8 is probably... 8 is nowhere near good enough for how much we need to be doing. So that's unfortunate. We can just get like a little bit more out that way. And we can get all that area covered in without having to get the Spidertron to go out there. And then there's still a little bit of work to do on that side, but should be better. So now this is like mostly built. And the legendary drone ports are all in as well. Okay, so this has mostly been constructed, and now we just need to get it set up so we have the right ones. So we have ice cubes here. We have... This one doesn't need to exist because it was intentionally left incomplete. So we have ice cubes here. We have holmium ore there. We have stone there. And then this one is batteries, which we do not need. So we can take that all out and remove most of this stuff as well. We want to obviously leave the lightning collectors and the drone ports. Okay, so that's gone. And then we missed just like a couple railways from that. So that's all gone. And now we just need one more random power pole down there to connect these guys back up. Okay, so Spidertron can get back to work covering up all of this area. You should be doing a lot better on your supplies by now. And if not, then that's just too bad, because you're going to have to do what you can anyways. So then this just sort of continues to extend upwards. Wish the Fog of War wouldn't do that. So we just sort of extend a path upwards through all this until we are back up to somewhere that has coverage, like that. And then we also want to get coverage along sort of this diagonal, probably. So, Spidertron, you run down this way. And we just sort of get all of that built in. And off we go. Okay, so that should be better at least. It's not perfect by any means, but it's an improvement. Okay, now this rail here needs to have that in. So we build that. And then we connect that up there. Alright, so now we have our ice cubes, our stone, and our holmium ore. And it would be real cool if this could all get built up, but it can't, so that's fine. So it's just these top 3 belts, right? It's none of the rest of these guys. So we can just, like, take these guys out. Although it's difficult to do without... Okay, we can just dismantle all of those and then just rebuild the train tracks in a second. That's pretty trivial. So you connect up like that, you connect up like that, and you go up like that. Alright, so we've got all this. And we missed one belt, but that's fine. That's not much of a waste. Okay, so next stop is connecting this up to a train track setup. Now, I believe... So we have this, which is kind of what we're looking at here. So the trains go out there, and then... Yeah, so this is just barely wrong, basically. We need to cross that over. So instead, we are going to have this track come up this way. You go up like that. Then you can go up alongside it. And then... So this is the input, that's the output. So this is just oriented in a standard way, which is very convenient for me. It means I don't have to do any crisscrossing. I can just connect this up to this row here, and it should just straight up work. So that belt goes all the way up to like there-ish. I hit the wrong button. And then this belt also goes all the way up to there-ish. And that's the second time I've done that. It's taken me back to Aquilo instead of where I want to be. So Spidertron just walks up here now, gets all this stuff built. And now we just take you, wrap you around to there, we take you, wrap you down to there, and now we just have to get all this stuff built, and then put some signals along these tracks so that it isn't completely obnoxious. So we get there and there. And then we just sort of keep on going. Just put some signals every so often so that trains can use this reasonably effectively. And then eventually we'll get close enough that it won't really be an issue anymore. So those go in. We need to get some of these tracks built, apparently. And then sort of one last set of signals. And then you need another signal down there. And that should theoretically be just about everything. Now, for some unfathomable reason, this section of tracks just is absolutely refusing to be built, no matter what. So let's just retry that. So now we have you, we've got you, and we've got you. So they're all connected up properly. Now they just all need trains. So we can put the trains over here, because this is just a station which doesn't get used at all. 2, 3, and 4. And I guess we can build some of them over here and just hope to get lucky. So we get those, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So all those will get built. And the one that we built over there is ice cubes. And we need to assign these to the groups. So you get assigned to the ice cube group and automatic mode. Then these guys haven't been built yet, but that's fine. They'll show up eventually. It's a bit of a long journey, obviously. Okay, and the drones they like to travel through this area here, which I'm fairly confident is not properly covered. Yeah, so let's get a little bit of that filled in, and hopefully that will finish that off. So now this locomotive is going to be assigned to the holmium ore group, which should be fine. And then this one is assigned to the stone group. Just like that. And automatic. Alright, now I think I saw something weird with the holmium. Like, why wasn't there 2 of them? So that's holmium ore source. This is holmium ore recycler. There is a train with this. Oh, but it didn't get a group name. This was probably like the last one. So we can call you holmium scrap. And then also we need to give you the fancy little symbol. So you get the fancy little symbol, which should be in here somewhere. If I can find it. There it is. Okay. So that's that fixed. Just a problem with the naming scheme, nothing serious. So now, down here, we have ice cubes delivered, we have holmium ore delivered, and the stone should be on the way. We've got you waiting here to fill up, and there should be enough stone in those boxes for that filling to happen without issue. And is this jammed? Yes. Now it's the battery's fault. Alright, batteries, batteries, batteries. Where are the batteries? It's not either of you. It's you. And it doesn't look like it's that big of a problem, but it's definitely not working super well. I think if we just add more of these guys in. I think if we just do that, it should be fine. Hopefully. Because it looks like all of these are running around the clock. And we can also upgrade them to legendaries. And upgrade these guys to legendaries. So hopefully that will get enough output of the battery recycling that we don't have an issue. And then the train... Yeah, so now the battery train is reloading, and it fills up big time. Stacks of 200, which compared to how many batteries we get... We do get a good amount of batteries, but still, stacks of 200 means that that is a lot, and will take a while to refill. So, in the meantime, each of these boxes filled with thousands upon thousands of batteries is going, and now we have this issue where the belt is full, which is fully expected at this point. So let's remove that so I can see what I'm doing here. And then we just need this to get cut and move up a little bit. And then this, that looks like about halfway through, so that can loop around like so. Then that goes up to that way. This probably just needs to connect up to another row, just because of the throughput problems that are just inevitable. And then this one comes down to there. And then we need all of that to get power grid connected properly. And we need all this stuff to get built, including that one last belt and all those recyclers. So once all that stuff gets built, it should hopefully be fast enough to keep up. I love this just one singular belt, which is the last possible priority, and yet it's the most important belt in the entire system. Just literally only two things left, and it's one power pole and the most important belt in the entire system. Because, of course, it would do that. Come on, any second now. There we go, thank you. So now most of these can start running. Obviously we need that power pole for these guys to go, but the rest of them should be cool. And so now that is going, and that one power pole is finally in, although I suspect that some of these might have output problems. Okay, so now we're outputting a full belt's worth, approximately, of iron and copper. But we are getting most of these down, so most of these are running. That's like 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, 135. So we have like 150 batteries approximately going out at this point. That's pretty solid. Could obviously always be better, but it could absolutely be worse as well. Now I wonder is this gonna fit? It is barely gonna fit. So we can get you in there, and then this belt is gonna need to go this way, I think, just go where we have spacing. And then we get you out like that. And then this can go and do something at some point. Who knows? Where does this need to go? Just another one of these setups, but down. So we just need this. I have no idea what that belt is for, but we're just going to ignore it. So this goes in like that, basically. This belt can go away. And then this comes down to there. And that should help with the rest of battery demand. So now we have this full belt of batteries just going out. This chunk down here probably wasn't all that necessary even. Now we need more speed modules on Fulgora, which should show up eventually. I'm pretty sure we've got someone automatically delivering those. Is it Fulgora support? Yes, it is. So that's all good. And so now with these batteries draining out faster than usual, that should keep things under control. And these boxes are still incredibly full. So that now the only thing which we want left is we need these to actually fill at a reasonable speed. So we shove some of those in. I'm pretty sure the unloading side is already stack inserters. Yes, the unloading side is already stack inserters, so that's not a problem. It's just that it takes absolutely forever for them to load up. Okay, so that's all up and running. We've got stone here, we've got ice cubes, we've got some holmium here. So, now that we have all of these, we can start working on actually producing some legendary holmium plates. Another train of stone has shown up. That's nice of it. Alright, so step one is chemical plants to make holmium. Actually, wait, step one is actually like the only hard one, right? Holmium plates from holmium solution. Okay, so yeah, first we need to make water. So let's start with the final row of chemical plants probably. So if we just have like enough of them, right? You are going to make holmium solution. And we have like 10 billion of them. And let's actually reduce the demand for large numbers of them by making them legendary, which apparently we have here on Fulgora, because it's not saying we don't have them. So that's cool. I thought we would need to import them or something. But does it say legendary chemical plants in here somewhere? It doesn't. They might just be manually supplied. Alright, so fast transport can go back to novice. Then back on Fulgora, did these ever get built? Not yet, but they might. Oh yeah, here they are now on the way. So we've got these, and they can come down here to make us some legendary chemical plants. And let's just make sure that this entire island is powered. So we've got these guys in, and I actually don't want them in a line like this. I want my nice, convenient alternating pattern with beacons. So we just take out half of those, and legendary beacons go here, like that. And then we get legendary productivity modules in the machines and legendary speed modules in the beacons. And this should be quite powerful. Like, even with just a couple of machines, this should be a lot. So that then provides us a nice solid pipe of holmium. And the legendary beacons are in. The productivity modules are in. And now we just have to wait for the speed modules to show up. Oh, I guess for consistency's sake, we should have more legendary beacons around the edges. Just because that makes that work out more nicely. So we don't have like the internal ones being faster than the external ones. We lost a drone. And now we don't have enough legendary speed modules. Did we never get any of those? Fast transport is getting stuff delivered. You have legendary speed modules, so you can come up to Fulgora and drop those off here. So that should show up and let us know the sort of speeds we're looking at here. I don't know how extreme overkill we need this to be, but let's just take out that lightning attractor, because I just noticed that this did not get built properly. And there's all sorts of weirdness going on here. So we need the holmium to be able to get out onto the belt. So fast transport is on its way. Oh, speaking of which, Vulcan is fast. I need to recopy you, go over to here, and paste you again. So now this will be completely finished. And that includes this last bit down here. Now all the stuff up front has been constructed. You need that. And we want you to get some fusion power cells to start with. So, how are we going to get those in? Can we get those in from Novice? Does Novice have any? Yes, it does. So those should get launched eventually when Novice has space to do launching, which will be a while because we've got more construction to do, but that should get the power going. And the fluoroketone is on its way already, so that will be fine. So that'll get power going. And we have that. Meanwhile, back over here, fast transport has arrived. So you can drop those off. And probably some other stuff needs to get dropped off as well, but that'll be a start. So currently this is 24 per second per chemical plant. And then let's also get the foundry side of things up and running. So we need a legendary foundry here, which is going to need to be delivered. So you can go back to Vulcanus and start working on that. But this legendary foundry will be making holmium plates. And it will, of course, have all the usual suspects in terms of modules and beacons. So you'll be like that. Our speed modules have shown up at least. So this one has everything, and you are doing 410 holmium solution per second at a pretty low cost in terms of ore and water inputs. Now, one of these guys at full blast is going to be using a lot as well. I wish we had those already so that I could figure out what the numbers were going to look like. So you can request legendary foundries from Vulcanus, which should be perfectly easy, right? We've got 40 of those stockpiled, so yeah, that's fine. And we're going to have to wait for those to show up, annoyingly. But all of these together, I want to make like a full belt of holmium plates, if possible. I don't know how efficient we're going to need to be to make that happen. We might just not have enough holmium ore output from the recycling system for that to be possible. But it would be cool if it worked. Alright, let's just get rid of that huge ruin because it's annoying me. It's not like in the way yet, but it probably will be soon. Okay, so with all that out, what's the crafting speed bonus here? Plus 839%. So that should be similar here as well. So it would be like 8 times as fast, so like 1600 holmium solution. Which means that this actually would line up reasonably nicely, but then we have the productivity modules as well, which will make it more efficient. So I really want those. I really want the foundries to show up. Now, in the meantime, we also have, of course, the ice. So we need ice melting, productivity moduled, and legendary beaconed. So all that stuff goes in. And Vulcanus Fast is, yeah, it's just doing the weird stuff that happens when you're trying to build. And it has full power. So, right, it's got fusion powers. So yeah, power is working fine. And now it's just a matter of all this stuff getting built up. You need to produce a bunch of ammo and assorted nonsense. Like we are going to be launching up firearm ammo to start with. So now you get a power pole. And we have to wait for the speed modules for this, but it should be more than enough water just from one of these to feed all 4 of these. Should be enough water. I got hair in my mouth. Problems of having a mustache. Oh well. So, once the speed modules show up, we should see that this provides plenty of water to fuel all these. Then, let's get the input belts in. Because despite everything, like, these don't actually take that much stone. So that can pretty comfortably be a distant input without breaking anything. So those go like that. Then the holmium ore would go in like that. And the water pipe would be going across like this. And then connecting up there and down to here. So that would produce 821 water per second at peak speed, which would require a lot of ice, but not completely crazy amount. And we're only going to be using like half of that, right? Or significantly less than that. This is like 100. So yeah, that is all fine now. And all gets built up. So that all gets built up, and now we would just have this connect into the ice input, and that would work. Now, fast transport, you are here, you've got your legendary foundries. You can now move over to Fulgora, which we still need to be filling in these areas for the drones. So like this whole region basically could do with having some power poles on it. So that all gets placed. And okay, let's just continue clearing this space out. I don't even know how necessary this area is, but it'll be good to have covered because it'll definitely, like, some drones will sometimes go through here, right? So let's just run around, get all those placed in. And that should be pretty close to fully covered. Yeah, I guess there's like a tiny gap there, which we can fix. And then we need to actually get these built, because I apparently hadn't done that previously. And then if we look, that is certainly good enough for now. Okay, so fast transport just needs to get here so that we can check the foundry speeds. And then we will, let's see here. Actually, with this being as fast as it is, we realistically don't need 2 beacons, right? Like, that doesn't really do much of anything. So if we just take that out, that's 500 per second. Now, if we take the second one out too, then it completely crashes to an unsalvageable quantity. So we do want a beacon, but we don't need 2. So we can have that set up. And then we have this, which I really just need this to show up, which is very close to happening. Once that's here, I can check how many legendary foundries we have, or I can check how fast a legendary foundry is and how many of those we're going to need. So let's add legendary foundries to the list of requests. Just request like 10 of them at a time, maybe. And that ought to be good. And yeah, that should be fine. We're going to have to figure out some setup to bring them over here at some point, but we got space platforms. Shouldn't be impossible. So you are all built, and you are just waiting to get all this stuff armed. So as far as ammo is concerned, you're like half done, basically. So you have like half the ammo set up, and then we're just waiting on the other half. So that's this belt, comes down here, goes into there. And yeah, so that should be fine. We obviously don't have much rockets yet, but that's gonna come with all this stuff getting built. Okay, wait, why do you not have... Oh, I see. You're just short on explosives. It's working correctly, just short on it. Alright, so yeah, that's fine. And while we were looking at that, this foundry is set up and ready to go. We're just waiting on it to make it through the drone network. I often find that the one I'm looking for is bright yellow for some reason. I don't know how they decide which ones are yellow or not. Okay, there we go. It gave up at the last second to go charge, and it's in. Okay, so currently it's like 2,247. Once the productivity modules show up, which that's just foundation. Okay. So once the productivity modules show up, then we will be able to see how that changes, but it should be a lot less fluid to a lot more output is the idea. So we're just going to wait on that. Shouldn't take too long. It's probably this drone in here because it's bright yellow. I wonder if that's just like a construction drones versus logistics drones thing. Alright, so is that all of them? Yes, it is. So now this is slightly less holmium solution to massively more plate output. So that's good. That's like 90% of the way to a full belt's worth. So let's just get like another one of you in. And now you have the capacity to theoretically output 240 holmium plates per second, which is one full belt. But we're going to need 400, 800, 1200, 1600. So we're going to need just another one of these guys. So you just go in like that. And then that all goes, and we need a lightning rod, because that was just a natural lightning rod in there. Okay, lightning rod built. So now this should be a setup capable of outputting a full stack of holmium plates. So now let's just get... Okay, actually I have an even better idea. If we just have Spidertron standing relatively close, we can just... No, we cut you and just paste you down to here. And then you'll be within range of these beacons as well as your own. So that should be more than enough speed. Okay, so that should be all set up. And it's taking a billion years for that foundry to get rebuilt. But that's fine. We know that it'll be fast enough. So now this setup, we just need to put the inputs in and have the recycling. So, step 1, inputs. Ice cubes go down there. Step 2, inputs. Oh right, so that belt doesn't need to exist anymore because we have the other belt for the ice cube input. Step 2, holmium ore goes up to here and in that way. Stone goes up to here and in that way. So now this should turn basically 100% of our holmium ore production into holmium solution. And then we just need to take this and actually getting all of this out of a single machine is not going to be easy. So we need to like move your beacons around a little bit to hopefully get that to line up properly so we can have access to more sides. So you need stack inserters. And so one stack inserter, we've pretty much assessed this point as like 40-ish. And we need to get out 240 for a full belt's worth. And by the way, all the inputs are in, and this is producing holmium plates. Alright, so we need 240 total, which means 120 per side. So if we do like that, and then like this is a little bit cursed, sort of working on a diagonal here, but it's fine. That all goes together and gives us probably, unless I've messed this up somehow, should give us all the Holmium plates we could ever want. And now we just have to go over to, let's see, we actually need to do the cycling. So how fast does this cycling work? If we go over to here. So this is the exact machine we're going to be looking at, and it's 16 per second. So if we need 240 divided by 16, boy. 240 divided by 16, I'm pretty sure it's an exact number, right? So if we just get an arithmetic combinator placed somewhere, literally just as a built-in calculator. So we have 240 divided by 16, output to an equals sign. It is 15. So we need 15 recyclers at legendary speed to deal with all of this. So, recyclers, legendary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Copy, paste, paste. Now we run the belt across, and these all get modules applied. Alright, and then they all get inserters. So that all goes in. And then we take them and we give them an output, which is just going to run along this way and not go underground at any point, because that would be silly. So now all this is going in. We'll worry about getting the power poles in once all the rest of the stuff is built. So now this outputs like 60 some. Okay, and we need to go... Actually, I think we do need a 16th just to make it an even number. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this is where we flip over to the other side of the belt. And that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. Alright, so that should theoretically be like 256, which is fine. So now we have this all combining up. We then take those down to a row which will deal with 60 of them. So this belt actually needs to go up and not like that. I don't know what that was all about. I want you to go up one more and then across this way. And then we need a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Should be more than enough, I think. So those all get inserters and they get modules. And then those output, and then we are sort of having a weird spacing thing, but those can output down to there, and they will use both sides of the belt, And then we'll have another row of 6-ish here, which will be the one that loops back on itself. So that needs to go away, and we need a new one up there. So now that's still all covered. Okay, so then this output comes down this way and merges in with input priority left. Okay, so now we just need to get the legendary stuff out. So we filter legendary quality to the right, and that'll go up there. Then you filter, actually, you don't even need a separate splitters for this, right? So you can just be output, filter, legendary quality, and then this belt can just straight up twist around and head up here. Then we do get a filter over here. So you take legendary quality out, bring it over this way. We're going to need a little bit of foundation for that, which is fine. And then all that stuff can then merge up and go into a box. Okay, now we need the quality modules for that last row. And then we need the power poles for all this stuff. So that and that. And we just place these every couple until that's all set up. Then we get those placed, and we're going to wait for these guys until they have their modules, because there's no point just wasting stuff. And you have electrical poles, so once the modules show up, you'll be able to do it like immediately. And then we just need a power pole up there for you, so that the outputs can actually go to a drone setup. And most of these guys are in. The last couple go. And now this gets powered. So now that's all powered. The whole system should just work. And we need some of these belts over here. And that needs a power pole. We've already gotten a couple. And this is probably just going to burn through all of our holmium ore super fast. But I guess we will see how exactly that plays out. This is not giving full speed outputs. So you need probably one more each, which is going to be a trouble for you. But we can make it work, just like that. And then we just need those belts to show up. Do you not have... Yeah, you don't have fast belts with you at the moment. But once those show up, this will all be full speed, and we already have 9 legendary holmium plates. And this can just keep on going. And that should be that. It looks like it's all working properly, although maybe this row is a little bit slow. Yeah, this row looks like it might be one recycler short here. 1632, 60, 1632, 64, 96. It should be fine. I don't know why, but it is definitely backlogging here, so we are going to have to cut all of that, move it over here, probably should be more than enough space. Just add another 2. Then all that stuff just connects across the same way. Quality modules show up. And bulk inserters go in. And that ought to be good enough. So now we're just waiting on all that to happen, which is going to take a little bit. We've got a whole bunch of drones coming in, which should handle all this stuff pretty quickly. Hopefully none of the construction drones get destroyed and need to get reassigned. Okay, so yeah, now everything is basically in. We just need a power pole for that last one somehow. And we need these bulk inserters over here, which you wouldn't think would be an issue, but apparently they are. And these guys also need their modules back, which is a little bit important. Okay, so most of these guys have their bulk inserters again, and the modules are in as well. So now it's just the last couple bulk inserters until this is fully up and running. Alright. So, that is that. We just have... I don't know why it takes bulk inserters in particular 5 million years. I guess because the Spidertron specifically isn't carrying them. So let's just add those to the list of things the Spidertron has. Apparently there's not that many logistic storage either. Alright, so this is all built up. And it's tough to say. This should be fast enough to not have any issues. The reason these guys have issues is because they obviously have to keep swapping recipes all the time. But these ones down here should be fully efficient. Now, are any of these guys not running? It looks like they're all just going. So that's... should be fine. Yes, alright, so holmium plate production is now up and running. And we need 150 of them to make one legendary EM plant. That is insane. But we are getting there. Our poor holmium ore supply has certainly seen better days. Those guys are output full. This guy is output full. The belt there looks 100% stable now. So it is going at full speed, and hopefully all these guys are outputting. So you are actually target full a lot of the time because of how these belts are. It's not easy to fix though. Now, I guess that's because somehow we wound up with like a bunch of extra holmium ore on this belt. So this should theoretically be like 240 inputs here to 60 outputs here, and it should be completely perfect. But instead, we have like this excess ore here, which it looks like it might be depleting. It looks like it might be depleting, but that means that we technically have 256 output here while that extra ore is in place. But that should deplete and stop being an issue. Surprised that it's taken this long, to be honest, but there. It definitely seems shorter, like there's more gaps down that area now. So you are up to 12. So, in comparison of this setup to my old setup, this is doing 240 holmium plates per second, Whereas up here, the old setup was doing like max 30. So it's a really big difference. And this also wasn't even getting anywhere near that, probably. Because it just doesn't have that much holmium ore up there. So the real question in all of this is like, how much is the holmium ore supply going to last? Because we have thousands of them here. And if you check the ratio, it's like 5-ish to 500. And so that ratio there is like slightly worse than 1-to-1. This ratio here is slightly better than 1-to-1, so it probably balances out at being 1-to-1 ratio. So, or not 1-to-1, sorry, 1 to like 100, and then this is like 10-to-1. Wait a minute, is that true? This is like 5 to 500. Whereas this is 2,000. Yeah, so we're actually getting like 10 holmium plates-ish per holmium ore. Is that right? Probably. So the holmium solution recipe is 2 to 100. Then the plate recipe is 20-to-1. So yeah, it is somewhere around there. Like 10 plates per ore. And we have thousands of ore backed up in here. So that should be fine. We should be able to get a bunch of them out, and then who knows what the actual ratio of outputs is, but hopefully it's pretty good. Now, if we just check up here, how's this holmium supply going? It's got another couple thousand up there. And then we check in the intermediate section where we have this full setup here. And I can see that these are not stack inserters. I think it's probably pretty important that they are, so that they can keep up and not have any holmium ore unnecessarily recycled. So let's get those in. And the holmium ore stacks to 50. The stone also stacks to 50. We use twice as much holmium ore as we do stone, and I think we get way more stone when we get holmium ore, so that's not going to be an issue. Right, if we just go up to here. Yeah, way more stone than holmium ore. So we're probably... This is probably burning through holmium ore faster than we're producing it, but that's good, you know, gotta get through those backlogs somehow. So that gives us our holmium plates, and then we need so many of them. We need so many of them to make EM plants. We also need refined concrete, which I think we have some of that, probably. Is that, if you go to Novice, we had this set up here. Probably, I think we had a setup somewhere in this vicinity that was doing refined concrete. I can't remember exactly where it was. But, okay, no, this was just doing regular concrete. It was pretty bad. So, Fulgora makes regular concrete legendary, right? That's what all this stuff is. And it mostly just launches it. And I've stared at this a couple of times, and I think what we have here is correct. So refined concrete then is that plus steel plate and iron sticks, which is pretty easy, assuming we can get the regular concrete supply down, which we seem to be struggling with quite a bit. So we're going to need to do something about that, which, I mean, we're currently doing just about all we can, right? Like this is the massive recycling system. It's not keeping up, but it's doing its best. I don't know where all this legendary concrete is going, though. It's going to be going back to here somewhere, but to what end? Is that... Okay, yes. It's for the recyclers take concrete. So we need way more of that, both for recyclers, because we're super low, and for when we want to do EM plants. So, our next goal is going to be getting absolutely bucket loads of legendary concrete. So currently I believe we're using the full concrete supply here, right? Like, we've got the concrete output, it's going into the cycler thing, that's doing all it can. So if we want more legendary concrete, we're going to need to find it from somewhere else, like Vulcanus, because Vulcanus has stone. So I think that will be the job for next time around. I think we're going to wrap up here. This is a good stopping point. We have our legendary holmium ore, and it's not fast, but making it be fast would be sort of a massive challenge, and then we just run out of holmium ore anyways, so it wouldn't accomplish much. But it's pretty good, so that's fine. As long as we're not spamming down hundreds of legendary EM plants, which we're definitely not going to be, then this should be able to produce enough to have one every so often. And by the time we've finished all the other stuff, that should be plenty of backlog that it won't be an issue. So yeah, we're gonna wrap up the stream here. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Been a lot of fun as usual. I will be back to Factorio on Monday, and then we'll be doing Dyson Sphere program on Tuesday. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stop by. Stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. So if you haven't followed already, make sure to do so you know when I'm live and what I'm doing. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out, and I will see you